How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store has kicked off their holiday sale. A lot of great deals are available right now, and I am here to look at the deals under $5. Now, spoiler alert, these are gonna be the deals that I've mentioned in the past. I'll do a video highlighting some lower key deals of, a variety of games, and I'll try to go through and do a video like I did before on new games that I will play, and then, I'll record some footage, we'll talk about it, we'll bring that to the table as well. But give me some time on all of that, and let me get through the games under $5. There's a lot of good stuff, so let's get right into it, and let's start things off with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It is 92% off for $4.79. This is arguably the best deal across this entire sale. Now, there's a lot of good stuff that I've seen discounted, but when you get all three Mass Effect games for under $5 in the form of this Legendary Edition, yeah, that deal is absolutely nuts, given the amount of quality and content that you're getting here. You're getting a lot of DLC content on top of the three titles as well. This is just a great pickup, and the Mass Effect trilogy obviously represents a time where BioWare wasn't absolutely washed. These are three of the best RPGs of all time. Even with Mass Effect 1 being dated, it's still a really good game. Mass Effect 2, legitimately one of the greatest games ever created. Mass Effect 3 is really good as well, ending aside, but yeah, $4.79 on that, I would say, is quite good. Now, I'll also give a mention, and, don't point the gun to my head, don't bring out the pitchforks or anything like that, but Mass Effect Andromeda, the Deluxe Edition, is $3.99. Look, this game is probably the start of BioWare becoming washed. However, I will say for this price point, Andromeda relative to the original three games is not a great game. However, there is some good gameplay elements to it. I actually think the combat's fairly well done, and for this price point of $3.99, it's more so the time investment rather than the monetary investment when it comes to Andromeda. Like, is it worthwhile to go through a game like this? That's ultimately your prerogative, but I think for this price point, it's so cheap that I would even say, it's not a horrible pickup, and I get it. People are going to vehemently disagree with me on this, but I thought I would throw that out there as well. Obviously, Legendary Edition takes priority. That is what you should pick up at Andromeda for $3.99. The Deluxe Edition, I honestly don't think that's horrible. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for $3.99. I recommend this ad nauseum. Jedi Fallen Order is awesome. The PS5 upgrade is really good. Jedi Survivor, I would say, is the better game, but Jedi Fallen Order is the kickoff to Cal's story, and you should play the game sequentially, and yeah, Fallen Order is really good outside of the atrocious map design, but for $3.99, great pickup there. Resident Evil 5 is 75% off for $4.99. Now, I would imagine that at some point Capcom is going to remake Resident Evil 5. However, that probably isn't going to come out for a very long time. I would say that for the RE5 remake, given that I don't think it's going to be next, it's probably going to be a situation where that's 2029. So if you're thinking like 2029, 2030 to get the RE5 remake, like, bro, are you really finna wait 5-6 years to play RE5? Like, you should play the original, and then I think it'd be more worthwhile to play through the remake as well. I think a lot of you guys already played RE5 when it comes down to it on the PlayStation 3 to 360, but nonetheless, it's a quality game. Yes, the AI isn't the best, but I still think it's a solid Resident Evil game the whole way through, and for $4.99, again, a good pickup there for sure. Mad Max, 75% off for $4.99. Great open world action mayhem title. Vehicular combat in here is really good as well. And narratively, it does pick up by the end. Unfortunately, we'll never get a sequel to the game, so that's kind of a bummer. But, it is what it is. I thought Mad Max was a well-done game, and overall, the combat was enjoyable. It performed, like, really well on the PS4. I remember when I initially played this on the PS4, I was blown away by how well it ran, and it ran really well on PC as well, on like lower-end machines at the time. I just remember this game being like incredibly well optimized, but yeah, $4.99 for it, definitely a good pickup there. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition, another one of those very easy recommendations. A solid open-world action title, and an open world that isn't completely insane in how large it is. A lot of these open worlds these days are getting a little bit insane, but Shadow of Mordor, I feel like, is not a contained open world, but an open world that is manageable. That's a good word, manageable, and not overly abundant in content to the point where it becomes a daunting task. And the Game of the Year Edition does include some bonus content, so $4.99 for this, I think, is pretty damn good. Next up, gotta give a shout out to OKAMI HD. I mean, I'm pretty vocal about the fact that I think OKAMI 2, the announcement that a sequel is in development, should have gotten the closing slot at the Game Awards and the, oh, we have one more thing to share. I just think OKAMI 2 would have clicked with that audience a little bit more, and it did click with that audience in terms of it just being unanimously praised. Like, everybody's super excited for it. Unfortunately, all we got is a teaser trailer. It's still a ways away. I get it on that standpoint that we probably won't play for 5 years, but Witcher 4 we probably won't play for like 10 years, so like it is what it is. OKAMI HD $4.99, great deal on it. OKAMI is a fantastic game, and if you look up the list of the best PS2 games of all time, OKAMI is usually in the mix for the top 3, top 5, at the very least top 5. Like, if it's falling below the top 5, I gotta look at the list, but I think it should at least be at the top 5. I personally, when it comes to the upper echelon PS2 games, to me, it's Metal Gear Solid 3, it's Shadow of the Colossus, and it's OKAMI. Those are the 3 games that I think really are the premier PlayStation 2 titles. There's so many great PS2 games, but those 3 are just incredible, and OKAMI is such a great game from the standpoint that, yes, it came out 20 years ago, or nearly 20 years ago, but it has aged so gracefully because the art style is so fantastic. It's awesome. I can't believe that I am living in a world where OKAMI 2 is actually in development, but yeah, good times ahead. Even if it's gonna be 2028, 2029, look, it's the same feeling I think a lot of people had when the Final Fantasy VII remake got revealed, that a lot of people just never thought it was gonna happen, and in the case of OKAMI, I think all of us kind of threw in the towel in the thought of OKAMI 2. I mean, I've mentioned OKAMI 2 happening on this channel and how much I'd like to see it so many times, but did I ever think we were actually gonna get it? No. And if you don't understand why people are so excited about it, you probably haven't played OKAMI, so rectify that. $4.99, great deal, definitely check that out. Dishonored Definitive Edition, $4.99 on this. Dishonored 3 is one of the... Now we move on to Dishonored 3. We got OKAMI 2, now it's time to move on to Dishonored 3, and me complaining to Arcane that the Marvel bag ain't gonna be worth it, just go do Dishonored 3. You know, Marvel Blade I'm sure will be good, and I'm sure they'll make a lot of money on it, but man, I wanted Dishonored 3. I think that would be great. Dishonored 1 was awesome. Narratively really strong, and the gameplay was great as well. The Definitive Edition includes the DLC on top of that, and yeah, definitely a worthwhile action stealth title that you can play in a variety of different ways. If you do want to take the more action-heavy approach, that option is available to you, or if you want to take the more silent approach, you can do that as well, and that's probably the more rewarding way to play the game. Dishonored is one of those games that I gotta do another replay of soon. Every time I do this these deals videos, you guys, I feel like I always get the feeling of like, man, I gotta replay that game at some point. Dishonored is one of those games. Next up, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, $3.99. Gotta give my girl Laura a mention. Another game that I want to replay soon. I'm definitely gonna replay the entire trilogy before the next Tomb Raider game comes out, hopefully sometime soon. Man, they did a awesome job with Tomb Raider 2013 and leading into the subsequent titles after this. Tomb Raider 2013 is just a great game, a smaller scale title than Rise, but still worthwhile. A solid, you know, 10-hour experience. You got some optional tombs in there as well. It's one of those games that I enjoyed so much that I've done so many playthroughs of it. So yes, while it is like a 10 to 12-hour game, I've probably gotten multiples of that, 5 or 6x that, because of how many playthroughs I've done. And it's one of those games that's a manageable playthrough. Jump in on a weekend and you can probably complete it over the course of that weekend if you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or so on and so forth. But yeah, $3.99 for that is great. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Screw playing a game over a weekend. How about a game that you can complete in a sitting or two, because that's what Bulletstorm is. Man, I enjoyed Bulletstorm. The comedy and the absolute vulgarity of it. I think to some people it's gonna be off-putting, but you just don't see games like this a lot these days, so I just think there's a little bit of a charm to Bulletstorm, and the chaos and the absolute crudeness of Bulletstorm is one of the elements that sets it apart. If that doesn't vibe with you, great. It doesn't have to, but I think what Bulletstorm tries to do, it does, you know, decently well. The gameplay, by the way, is really good. The gameplay in Bulletstorm is a really solid and well-made FPS with a lot of fast-paced elements to it as well. $3.99 for it, I think, is a pretty solid deal. If you want just a game that's complete nonsensical and a lot of fun at the same time, and a lot of vulgarity attached to it as well, Bulletstorm's gonna give you a good experience, so check that out. Shenmue I II, 85% off for $4.49. Shenmue is one of the most iconic video games of all time. Nobody's gonna take that away from it. It does show its age. Shenmue I and II, that is, they do show their age. I still think their game's worthwhile to go back and play. It's just these games were so technically impressive on the Dreamcast that, you know, that technical impressiveness kind of is diluted over the course of, you know, 20 plus years since these games have been out. Nevertheless, it's still, you know, an interesting game to go back and play. Narratively, they're well done. Shenmue 3, unfortunately, didn't turn out all too well. Not everything in life can be great, but, you know, it is what it is as far as that's concerned. Next up, we have Tales of Iron. Now, this was a PlayStation Plus title not too long ago, so a lot of you guys already have this game in your library, so you can check it out that way. An action RPG adventure game, a little bit of challenge to it as well, and they have updated the game and have updated it with some new content as well, so that adds a little bit of longevity. But for $4.99, not a bad deal if you missed out on it when it came out on PS Plus Essential, so another game to check out there. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, really, really charming Metroidvania game. The Metroidvania genre is just, man, I don't want to say it's like oversaturated because the games are so good and they're worthwhile playing. Like, there's so many great games like a Guacamelee, but there's also so many of them that it's impossible to play all of them. So I guess by definition it is oversaturated. You could be oversaturated of a good thing, and that's what I kind of feel like the Metroidvania market is sometimes. But Guacamelee has a lot of charm to it. You play as a damn luchador doing wild ass wrestling moves. It's a lot of fun. It's $3.74. It's well worth the pickup. And lastly, we have UnMetal, which is down to $4.99. If you're a Plus subscriber, you'll save an additional 5%, and you'll get it for $3.99. A charming parody of Metal Gear Solid, a lot of comedy to it, but it's really, really well done. If you want a chuckle out of the game, if you want to chuckle out of a game in general, I should say, UnMetal is a good one. And, like, the description of the game is so funny. Modern gameplay mechanics that pay homage to a solid classic. Yeah, I wonder what they're talking about there. Uncover a clandestine plot as you escape from an enemy base where you were imprisoned for a crime you did not commit. Gain experience and skills by utilizing stealth to take down your enemies. Y'all already know, but there's a lot of comedy, there's a lot of charm to it. I would definitely say check it out at this price point, but that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals as a part of the PSN holiday sale. Deals under $5. Links to everything, as always, in the description box below. That's gonna do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.